Hello everyone. So yesterday we discussed k nearest neighbor classification and regression. Today we'll be continuing with that. There are two things that we didn't discuss. First was choice of k and secondly pros and cons. So what is choice of k? We saw that if we take k equal to 1, then training error is 0. Okay? Training error would be 0. And if we go on increasing k, then what are we exactly doing? We increase k means what are we doing in terms of flexibility or something like that. So let me try to see it via some graph. Okay, suppose I have bivariate data. My original data set is say bivariate. So these are my observations. Okay, and of course I want them to have some classes. Suppose it's a classification thing. So this is class 1. The red things are from class 1 and so the green things are from class 2. Okay, so these are observations from class 2, these are observations from class 1. Now when you take k equal to 1, training error is 0. So basically you are fitting a model which is catering completely to every observation. Okay, now this is suppose a new observation whose class you are interested in predicting. Okay, you are interested in predicting class of this observation. When you take small k, you are focusing on a nearby region, but as you increase k, you take in more and more observation. So now imagine the regression situation. In regression, we saw that initially when your flexibility of a model is less, you kind of have a common thing for everyone. And then as you increase flexibility, you go closer and closer to those points. Right? Something similar happens here. When you take k equal to 1, your model is extremely flexible. That's why your training error is 0. Okay, you are actually overfitting. Okay. As you increase k, what happens? So see, I have one observation here. Suppose I have another observation here. If I have a small k, then the points on which the final conclusion is based, the prediction is based, are mostly different. But if I take a large k, so for example, this becomes the neighborhood of interest for this, and for this becomes the neighborhood of interest, then most of the points are common for both these points. And we are going to take decision on the basis of those points. So the predictions would be more or less same for each of these observations. So if k is large. So as k increases, predictions become less specific. You kind of give a generic prediction for every observation. Are you getting what I am trying to say? It is as if predicting everything by average of y. Something like that. So the second extreme is k equal to n. No flexibility at all. So k equal to n means what happens? For every observation, the prediction would be based on all the observations. So you will get exactly same prediction. Okay. So these are the two extremes. And of course, we are not interested in extremes. What happens to training error and test error? So if this is my k, if I start from 1 and I go on till n, training error for 1 we know is 0. So I am plotting say training error. Let me write just error and then we'll draw training and testing etc. on the same graph. So if I have k here and if I have error here, then training error we know is going to be 0 here and it will be maximum at this point. Okay, it need not be a straight line, it can probably be a curve or something like that. It will be maximum when you give only one single prediction for all the observations. Okay, Whereas test error would show you a different picture. Test error would be something like this. So initially test error would be high because it's the model is too flexible, but it will go on decreasing, and maybe you will get something like this, again a U-shaped curve. So somewhere here test error can also be called as validation error. Okay, so somewhere here you will get an optimal K. Okay, so this means that you shouldn't choose extreme K. So are there any other conditions on K? So theoretically the model will give you consistent predictions. What do I mean by consistent predictions? In the sense of statistical thing. Consistent predictions means predictions which converge to actual predictions in probability. So the model will give you consistent predictions if K by N goes to 0. So what do I mean by K by N going to 0? First thing, K should be a function of N. That is important. I cannot arbitrarily say I will take 3 nearest neighbor irrespective of whatever sample size I have. That is not correct. K cannot be constant, so K has to be a function of N, and K by N should go to 0. So generally you take K to be N raised to some C where C is less than 1. For example, if I take square root N, then I will have 1 by square root N as K by N, so it goes to 0. Of course square root N would be too large, so but something like this is a valid criterion. Okay. Okay. Another thing, even 10% of N or 20% of N is also ideally not a valid criterion, because 10% of N would mean K equal to 0.1 N by N. So this goes to a constant. This doesn't constant which is not 0. Okay. So ideally K should be something like this. Okay. This is important. In K nearest neighbor regression or K nearest neighbor classification, your K should be a function of N and generally some power of N with the exponent less than 1. Okay. Now the second thing, what are cons and pros? So pros we saw, it's very intuitive and easy to code, doesn't require much iterative algorithms or anything. Of course it's going to have cons, nothing is perfect, right? Now for cons, let me see what happens. Okay, so suppose my N is 100. Let us take one example. N is 100, okay, and I am going to take K equal to square root N, suppose. So my K is 10. So I want 10 neighbors. Now let us consider two scenarios. One scenario is I have univariate data and I have bivariate data. N is fixed in both the cases. So what happens if I have univariate data, and what happens when I have bivariate data? In univariate data, let us assume that my observations are coming from 0, 1, and let us assume that I am in my y is say binary. Okay, the response variable is binary. Observations are coming from 0, 1. This is suppose a new observation for which I want to predict things. Okay, so this is a new observation, say x new, for which I want to predict things. Now to predict things I need 10 neighbors, right? So how much distance do I need to travel in both the directions to get 10 neighbors? The total distance is 1 unit and we are assuming uniform distribution. So I need to have an interval of length 1 by 10 to get roughly 10 neighbors. 1 by 10 means the distance on either side is going to be 1 by 20, 1 by 20. Okay, so basically the distance between x new and the neighbors that we consider in prediction, so the maximum distance is roughly going to be somewhere around 0.05. 1 by 20 is 0.05. Okay, now let me go to the bivariate scenario, and in bivariate let me assume that x1 x2 both are uniform 0, 1. Okay, so I have 0 here, 1 here, 1 here. So my data is roughly located in this square. Okay, and this is suppose my observation of interest. So this is my x vector nu. Okay, now my total area of this square is 1. So to get roughly 10 neighbors, I need to cover roughly 10% of the area. That is, area should be 1 by 10. Area of a square that I draw around this, or circle that I draw around this, should be 1 by 10. Circle if I consider Euclidean distance, square if I consider Manhattan distance. I'm sure you must have seen how the neighborhoods, shape of the neighborhoods changes as you change the distance. Okay. If you can't recall, go check your real analysis notebooks. Okay. So, okay. Now, I need pi r square to be 1 by 10. So what would be my value of r? What would be the radius? So pi r square should be 1 by 10. So it means that r square is going to be 1 upon 10 and pi is 3.1416, something like this. So r square is 1 upon 31 point something. So what is r? So let me check. So r is going to be 1 by square root of 1 by square root of pi into 10. Okay. So what is r? See, r is 0.17. R is 0.17 means what? That the maximum distance that I consider here becomes 0.17. So here it was 0.05, now it became 0.17. As my p increases, this is going to increase further. Okay. So what does it mean? It means that as my p increases, the neighbors that I am considering, they are now at a distance longer than the distance that I had when p was small. So as p increases, the neighbors actually go away from the point of interest. Hence, in real sense, they may not even be neighbors, because if they are too much away, their y values may not be good predictor for the y values of the point of interest. So this is an important point. This is important con of k-nearest neighborhood. So this is actually similar to what we had in multivariate, curse of dimensionality. Okay. So as p increases, your neighbors, so-called neighbors, are not really neighbors, and hence they are going to affect your prediction badly, because now you are going to consider those objects which are not really as similar as you would expect them to be in prediction. Okay, you getting my point? Hence, for higher dimensions, k nearest neighbor methods won't give that good results. Okay. Now I have some homeworks for you. So first let me give a small homework which can be done even manually. So if you take k equal to square root n, small n, how do the distance change with p, the maximum distance of the neighbors? So 1 and 2 I have calculated here, go with 3, 4, etc. and try with both Euclidean as well as Manhattan. I did only Euclidean for 2, but you should try with Manhattan also. Okay, and try to see how these things change. And now the second homework is, I hope yesterday you tried to write down the codes for k-nearest neighbor. So now the second homework is try 5-fold cross validation in k-nearest neighbor method to choose optimal k. Okay, I am going to end this lecture today because I want you to do these things. So generally I ask people to do these things in class. Okay, to choose optimal k. So try both these things. Writing this code is important, especially in k-nearest neighbor regression. People make many mistakes. Okay, So do go through yesterday's lecture again to see how we actually compute prediction in k-nearest neighbor regression, and try to do both these things. Okay, today is Wednesday. As I said, I am giving a small lecture because I want you to practice these things. So try these and let me know by tomorrow if you could do it. Okay, I'll stop here.